Well, a new movie is hitting the big screen about former President Donald Trump's life. The Apprentice, starring Marvel's Sebastian Stan and Succession's Jeremy Strong, is causing quite the stir.
The controversial film, dubbed the Trump movie Trump Doesn't Want You to See, centers around Trump as an apprentice for Roy Cohn, attorney, New York power broker, and top aide to Senator Joseph McCarthy. Take a look.
Hello, this is Donald Trump from Mr. Cohn. Thank you so much.
Donald who?
1, 2, 3, 4!
Roy Cohn, nice to meet you.
The Roy Cohn, you're brutal.
Guilty as charged.
How do you always win?
There's rules. The first rule is attack, attack, attack.
It's going to be the finest building in the city, maybe the country, in the world.
Rule 2, admit nothing, deny everything.
There's never been anything like this, of this magnitude, this quality. Ooh, cheese balls over here.
What are you doing?
You want one?
No, it looks totally disgusting.
Cheese balls.
Rule 3, no matter what happens, you claim victory and never admit defeat. You have to be willing to do anything to anyone to win. You have a big ass. You got to work on that.
Your face looked like an orange.
Attack, attack, attack.
Deny everything,
Admit nothing.
Never admit defeat.
What if you lost your fortune today?
Well, then maybe I'll run for president. I don't know.
I say, if you're indicted, you're invited.
Well, the film has been seen as a political lightning rod for Hollywood. Trump campaign spokesperson Stephen Chung threatened to file a lawsuit to block the film's release, saying, quote, "This garbage is pure fiction, which sensationalizes lies that have been long debunked."
Since then, the film has garnered the attention of many political actors. Former Trump campaign advisor Roger Stone posted this on X. "I knew Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn was a friend of mine. The portrayal of Roy Cohn by actor Jeremy Strong in the new movie The Apprentice is uncanny in its accuracy." So, I don't know, Kevin, are you going to see the movie?
Comes out Friday. I don't even know where we can see it. I know there were issues with distribution, so I don't know even where it's playing in this area. I know there was a preview this past week for some politicos in D.C. at Alamo Drafthouse, I think is where the premiere was. It certainly wasn't at the MPA or other more famous theaters in D.C., but it's, the trailer looks pretty compelling. I don't know. Are you going to see it?
I don't think Sebastian Stan's Trump impression is very good.
He got the voice down kind of when he was knocking on the door at the beginning.
I'm curious to see Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn. I mean, I guess I understand Trump's objection to the movie. Obviously, it contains a very graphic rape scene with an actress who's portraying his ex-wife, Ivana Trump. She accused him of sexual assault in a divorce filing, but then later walked back the claims and said that they never happened. And then I guess they have some issues with other portrayals in the movie that they say are inaccurate. And I mean, when you're a public figure that's still running as a candidate for political office, I can understand why you would have an issue with a movie that might have false portrayals or claims in it, and why you might want
sensationalized elements of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault Trump for trying to
wanting
file.
To stop this, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and I doubt it's probably less because there's a movie about him. I mean, the guy would probably love to have a movie about him, and more that.
Especially with some of these high-level actors, Jeremy Strong has quite a following.
It just seems like it's intended to be, like you said, very sensationalized, very intentionally negative about his rise, and I think maybe like a balanced documentary might be more.
I mean, funny enough to your point, Amber, some folks on the left who have seen it were saying it actually paints Donald Trump in a sympathetic light for a lot of it. Obviously, you talked about the rape scene that has gotten a lot of attention, but the fact that he was a hard scrabble guy that all these elders in New York were saying build elsewhere, and he had this vision to build Trump Tower and going against the grain. The movie's getting attacked from the left that it makes this young portrayal of Donald Trump to be sympathetic. Obviously, no one's happy with it on either end.
Well, that's the problem, is that you can't win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's going to be upset about everything. I don't know. I don't feel very strongly about it. I know India has banned at least the rape scene entirely because they say that it's too graphic, and then some other portions that are considered a bit too explicit. doubt the U.S. is going to do the same. I mean, we have like the worst movies ever with insane things in them. So,
and again, I mean, timing to your point too, right? We're 25 days out from this election. Certainly, something that Donald Trump really probably doesn't want to be talking about or answering for. I thought it was interesting the quote that you read from Roger Stone, who was a long confidant of Roy Cohn. I think they worked together on a number of campaigns, saying that Jeremy Strong's role of him was pretty spot on.
Well, Jeremy Strong is known for being a very intense method actor.
He's a very interesting character.
There was a profile that came out about him when he was in Succession, playing Kendall Roy, the eldest Roy son. And some of the things that he was doing to stay in character and prepare for the role were absolutely bonkers. And you could tell by the comments made by his fellow actors on the show that they were not super thrilled with his behavior.
What was it, Brian Cox, that was just like, this guy's a Looney Tune, like condemning him, which I thought was
saying how crazy
funny.
it was. And they were trying to compare him to like Daniel Day-Lewis. And I think it kind of harkens back to that famous quote, which is, have you ever tried acting?
I love that.
Yeah.
And again, obviously, this is not the first political portrayal of an individual, right? I remember, years ago with Oliver Stone's W about George W. Bush. I think it did come out around. I think it came out during the Bush administration, and that kind of being widely panned for some of the sensational elements of that, and probably a frustration, obviously, on President George W. Bush's point from this betrayal. So we're not new to these kinds of movies, and we'll again see if it resonates with audiences. Part of it is the frustrations around this distribution deal as well. I think folks, especially big agencies in Hollywood, were hesitant to take this on, especially the distribution rights, with the idea that there might be a lawsuit. Funny enough, Donald Trump, who loves to sue everything and everybody and everyone, threatened this lawsuit. Stephen Chang, his spokesperson, previewed that when it premiered in Cannes. And the fact that he didn't follow through with it, I think, maybe he didn't want to raise the profile of this movie in a legal battle, but it's kind of interesting that he held his fire with that threat of a lawsuit.
Yeah, I do wonder if it's more of a calculation of avoiding too much attention, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna be super gangbusters when it premieres in theaters, so maybe you just kind of let it die out. Your point about the W film is an interesting one. I mean, they also did the Vice film about Dick Cheney.
Oh yeah, that's a great point
but
too.
There is always a danger, I think, even it's just from a more general principle of releasing a movie or even writing a book about something that's ongoing, right? Because you risk either getting things wrong, because situations, especially in a White House, are changing very rapidly, certainly on a political campaign, et cetera. But when someone is still a public figure, what if their reputation completely changes by the time they leave public life?
I mean,
right?
Vice is, open back up the screenplay for Vice and have Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris.
Like, that's always the danger.
15 years later, it's kind of interesting in terms of the strange bedfellows with that.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, I'm probably not going to see it. I honestly don't really like political movies anyway. I don't even like political books. When I'm off camera, I like to do non-political things. But
that's how you save a lot of gray hairs and a lot of stress.
That's what I try to do. But if you see it, or if you know someone who sees it, you should tell me what you think.
I will, yeah.
All right, we're going to be back. More Rising after this.